Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Off the Rack. I'm Sal.
And I'm Tiffany.
Looks like our network isn't working right, which is par for the course with us.
We just won't move a lot.
We're just dealing with that. Wouldn't even matter.
I was, trying to make it so that it would be less weird.
Yeah, we're just dealing with.
This is a literal leak over there, but this time it's over the back issue set.
So only that stuff's getting ruined.
So that's exciting.
Mm-hmm.
So no one ever.
But don't worry. The landlord won't fix it or repair anything or also pay us back. So that's cool. Anyway, this is a comic review show. We take comics from the past week, recap them, review them, tell you what we thought about them, and then recommend comics that are coming out this week that we think you should check out. There's also comic book news out there. We saw Creature Commandos, the third episode. It was good.
I liked it.
Yeah, I liked it too.
I like it a lot.
But nobody cares about that because Superman released a poster.
What?
There were some rumors that we were going to get a trailer for Superman, the new movie from James Gunn, previously titled Superman Legacy. And instead, they released a poster and a date for the trailer, which will be Thursday. This Thursday. So this Thursday, we're getting a Superman trailer. But in the meantime, we're getting this cool motion poster, which also has some music. You can hear the a snippet, if you will, a 56-second excerpt of the Superman theme, the new Superman theme from James Gunn. He didn't write the theme, but it's there. And you can see move. Their tagline is "Look Up," which I think is a fantastic tagline for Superman. The poster itself is
it's pretty.
Good.
Yeah.
Pretty. I like the idea of calling it just Superman again, just moving on.
Yep.
No subtitles, doesn't make any sense.
Yep.
And it just looks.
It looks very much like
Chris Reeve.
Yeah, the whole thing. Not only just the poster homage, but like the Superman.
Right, exactly. But yeah, we'll hopefully, it's going to be good. We'll see what happens. I'm excited about it. But in the meantime, all we have is this poster go on. But on Thursday, we'll see some footage, and that's going to be very exciting as well. I'm looking forward to seeing actual, motion footage.
Not just a motion poster.
No, and it's not even moving, really. It's like a lenticular poster or something. But we wanted to mention also at the top of the hour that this show is kind of brought to you by the backer kit available from Dynamite for the 40th anniversary Thundercats story. If you recall, back in the day, some other publisher, which may or may not be rhyme with rival, I don't know. It's Marvel. Marvel put out a Thundercats book back in the day, and Dynamite got the rights to republish it. So you got a big old backer kit, so you can get an early copy of this big old collection that collects a heretofore previously unpublished run of Thundercats. If you like Thundercats, maybe that's right for you. Fun little incentive, by the way, if you do decide to back any of the hardcover editions. There are two different versions. You can get either like 2 soft covers or 2 hardcovers. If you decide to back the hardcovers sections, you will be entitled to not 1 but 2 copies or 2 different issues that have Mark Spears covers on them. If you're not familiar with Mark Spears, up and coming rising star in the industry, worked on a book from Keen Spot called Monsters, which features some of some familiar looking characters. But Mark Spears, again, fantastic artist, is doing 2 covers for this little collection, and so you'll be entitled to 2 different books that have those covers if you back the any hardcover part of the backer kit that's available. And and those are fetching a pretty penny. That's cool. So if you are interested, just click the backer kit link that's available in the chat, or if you're watching the show after the fact, in the comments below this video. Basically what a backer kit is, it's essentially like a Kickstarter or an Indiegogo. Just back the project, and if it reaches its goal, you will be entitled to the rewards that are laid out and promised that you backed specifically.
If you back this one, you will get your rewards.
Yes, because the goal was 19K. We're at 91,000. So I think you'll probably get
you're going to get your stuff.
You're going to get your book.
There's really not a lot of risk. This is my kind of gambling.
Exactly. Yes. Very low risk, very high reward.
Low stakes here.
Exactly. But check that out and see if any of these rewards are right for you. If you've been wondering about that run, you can get them. and that'll be really fun. And as an added bonus, if you back any of it with the hardcovers, you'll also be guaranteed. You'll just be given no other, chicanery involved. You'll get those 2 other books with Mark Spears covers, and those again, they're worth a pretty penny. So that will, as a little return if you're interested in investing a little bit in comic book art / comic book covers. And so let's jump into some comic books.
Wait, hang on really quickly. That has nothing to do with comics, but we also saw War of the Rohirrim.
Oh, yes, we did. We watched the latest entry in the Peter Jackson, New Line Cinema, Warner Brothers, Lord of the Rings world
stuff.
And we actually did a trailer reaction video to it, and it was the lowest viewed video in our channel's history. So I deleted it.
I love being part of those.
Yes, it's so great that you get to be on every single one of those.
I am. It's me.
Yeah, it's absolutely you.
I recognize it.
It is not. But so if you are interested, catch it before it disappears forever, because it bombed big time, one of the biggest failures in Warner Brothers history. And it is a really good movie. We enjoyed it quite a bit.
I really enjoyed it. And what's interesting is, like, obviously this is an anime feel, and some folks were like, I saw online that were like, could not imagine Lord of the Rings with anime.
Of course.
And I'm like, sure, I understand that. I could imagine for people who don't care for anime that they would be like, I'm not going to see that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we went and saw it with a whole bunch of people.
We did.
Most of which from back issues. And obviously they have very varying like degrees of knowledge when it comes to anime or enjoyment of anime, and every single person enjoyed this.
Yes, the entire crew enjoyed it. It was a really fun ride, really good animation, but also just a really fun story. And
legitimately felt like Lord of the Rings, regardless of how different it might look to you, because it's animated and in an anime style.
Yes.
It felt very much like Lord of the Rings.
Yeah. Or at least the Lord of the Rings that we come to know from Peter Jackson. There are a number of reasons why it failed. For one thing, it's animation, and nobody promotes that. For another, it was a combination of styles. It was anime meets Western influence, which at least one person had a real problem with. And for a third, besides the fact there was absolutely no marketing or promotion behind it, I think that the Rings of Power series has soured people on the brand.
Possibly, yeah. Ethan enjoyed it quite a bit.
Yep. Everyone did. Ben enjoyed it. Ethan enjoyed it. Tiffany enjoyed it. I enjoyed it.
It was enjoyment all around.
Yeah, everyone really enjoyed it. Everybody who saw it in the theater, the half full theater we saw it in on opening day, enjoyed it as well. But again, I don't think anyone even knew it was coming out. Certainly, I saw a few people say, when they were coming out of a different movie, like Craven the Hunter, they saw, there was a Lord of the Rings movie. I had no idea. Yeah. A shame, but not unexpected. But yeah, good stuff.
Yeah.
And, you can check it out when it's available on streaming or Lord willing, physical media. But and then you can wonder, oh man, why don't they do any of these anymore? It's like, because no one went to see it.
Because nobody saw it, and therefore it's a failure. Even if it does well afterwards, it's still a failure.
Doesn't matter. They will view it as a failure anyway. Nuts. It's true.
Let's talk about some comic books.
Yeah.
I almost said anime.
I know, but we're not talking about that today.
Admittedly, there is on January 6th, there is a release, or is it January 5th? No, it's January 6th. There's going to be a release of a second season of an anime I really enjoyed. It's such not what you normally hear we talk about here, but I'm like, oh, season 2. I have to go back to work that day.
No. And you can watch it in your car.
Yeah, just be in the car. Anyway. Talk about some books.
Yeah, speaking of failures, why don't you talk about Dazzler number 4?
Okay, it's not a failure.
I'm kidding.
Dazzler number 4 came out this week. The Final Curtain, written by Jason Liu, with art by Alan Robinson and Rafael Loureiro. I don't know how I did on that. I don't know. This concludes this story for Dazzler in the post-Krakoa era. This is dealing a lot with the fact that obviously mutant-human relations are strained at best, and
hostile, openly hostile at worst.
Yeah, and obviously someone had been trying to sabotage her world tour, had been succeeding to some degree, and in this one we finally get the reveal of who it is. And honestly, I enjoyed this series quite a bit up until this issue.
What?
Yeah, no, this issue just kind of fell flat for me. I pun intended, I suppose. But it just felt like weirdly a little rushed, or like there's like a message in this book, right? And a lot of comics you'll read, there is a message within them, and either it reflects something that's currently going on in the world, or it's just something that the writer feels like they want to talk about, or that this character maybe would
reflect in some way.
Yeah, and like, so there was a message in this book, and I'm not like the kind of person who's just like, messages are bad. I'm just like, all right, cool, whatever. This is what like we're reading right now, right?
Yeah.
My issue was just that the story, the mystery part of it, kind of really took a back seat to the message.
Mm-hmm.
And I just feel like there should have been better balancing. Like, keep the message, have it in there, let us see the message.
Yeah.
But also give me a satisfying ending
Yes.
to this. And that's where I really felt like I was kind of like, I wish the ending was a little stronger. Now, Lou does say at the end, like, maybe she'll be coming back for like another tour or something like that, right? So like maybe this was pitched as like an 8-issue thing and it became a 4-issue thing. I don't know. So I don't want to be like, oh, failures all around. It's just kind of like, this is a little bit of a disappointment for me.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's always a shame when, like, it's
even
like,
wait. Kindle says this is 4 of 5.
Oh.
But I don't think it is.
Well, I don't think so. If we just simply click on Dazzler, we can see that you can't click ahead. So
Yeah.
maybe it was originally solicited as 5. And Kindle
maybe
doesn't
there
know.
was some 0 thing.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh yeah, it could be a 0.
Anyway, just unfortunately not as strong an ending for me. But not like, doesn't make it like, don't read it. I just feel like I'm like, oh okay, like,
yeah.
I don't know. It did feel a little like maybe something was like shifted around lengthwise. I don't know.
Okay.
Anyway.
Well, why don't you keep it rolling with this little ditty?
Sure. Batman Silent Night. Batman Santa Claus Silent Night Returns number 3 came out this week. That's written by Jeff Parker with art by Michelle Bandini and Lucas Kettner this time around.
Nice.
Actually, it was probably them both last time. But yeah, this is the sequel, of course, to Batman Santa Claus Silent Night from last year. This is, obviously trying to make reference to Dark Knight Returns.
Well, just based on the title alone.
Based on the fact that we get that one moment in the first issue.
Oh, yes, where Robin and Santa are...
Yeah. But this also builds on the relationships of characters to Santa within the last series. So it's like Damian really has warmed up to him based on the ending of the last book that they did. Superman loves seeing Santa and is just like enamored with him. If you've ever seen any of the ComicPop Christmas specials, it's kind of like Ben. And, we get a little bit more deep into some of like Santa's, I guess, inner workings. We did a lot of lore digging in the first series. So it was kind of like, what were you going to do with this? We make a call back to Krampus. And in this issue, we get like a little bit of a mic drop moment at the end, which I kind of could see coming, but still was like, haha,
but it still was
cool.
Earned. Yeah.
But we also see a little more emphasis on other characters, like especially in the magical world. With Damian and Zatanna working together in order to try to help Santa to solve the problem of like where some of the Justice League have gone this night. It's really cool as you're like unraveling what the Knight is, and like seeing his powers develop. It's really like, initially he was just kind of like armor, like there's disembodied, and as he has been like essentially sucking the life out of people. Like now he's a skeleton in that armor, and I'm like, that's kind of cool. Like
he's forming.
Yeah. Cool. I'm like, that's neat. Santa gets a pretty like cool moment in this, but Santa, it wasn't too much in this issue, and I was like, I kind of want more Santa.
Yeah,
I'm kind of here for more Santa.
Right.
But maybe that just means that there'll be like a cool moment later on.
Oh, certainly,
for them. But the cover is not a lie on this one. We see like Mary Marvel, Robot Man, and Metamorpho.
Okay.
Yeah, they show up.
That's fun.
This cover was not a lie. I mean, the way in which they show up is not what is depicted on the cover.
Sure, he doesn't make like toy soldiers out of them.
No. But the characters are there, and I was like, neat. Like you're like, nope, that's what you're getting.
Yeah,
they're showing up.
I
So
love it.
I'm interested to see what they have to say about this, or what Jeff Parker has to say about those characters and how they're going to work here. They're called forth because supposedly the Knight's powers will not have an effect on them.
Oh.
Because we saw, obviously, Jason Blood fell to it, and this issue Flash did too.
Oh no.
Now, as we know, if you're reading the Flash right now, Wally is like 2 different people.
Yes.
So it's fine. There's still Flash.
Yeah.
Running around out there. But don't forget that these books are in canon.
Right.
So don't forget about that. Give Santa a JLU card. That would make Ethan insane.
I know. I would love to see his stats that are never agreed upon. Well, I read Storm number 3 from Morewa Ayodele and Lucas Wernick. This continues Storm's interesting journey where she is not only she is dying, but also she is seeking some kind of I don't know, absolution. It's very interesting. She visits with Dr. Voodoo, who actually ends up removing the like cancer from her, but also she's still dying. It's like there's something else going on, something else afoot, I should say. And as a result, Storm decides to go home. Also, within she's given this kind of cure, and there has to be some kind of a sacrifice, and so her sacrifice is that she can't use her powers for 7 days.
Okay.
And then Voodoo ends up like laying out, I know that sucks, but it could have also been 7 months of this or 7 years of this. Like this is something you don't want to lose, so it's part of it.
Yeah.
She goes home, she trains with Wolverine, she sleeps with Wolverine. Does she? Yes.
Good for her.
I know. And people are like, ew. And I'm like, really?
Why?
I don't know.
I think it's like the animated series lover in me, or at least that time when they
from Days of Future Past.
Yes. I love that for them. I'm sure it's unhealthy.
I'm sure. But she basically joins up with the X-Men for a few minutes, but obviously she has no powers, so we just get to see her kind of reunited with some of the team. And then Doctor Doom, Sorcerer Supreme, requests her presence, and you could tell that like Doom wants to use her / he needs her for her powers, which of course she doesn't have. Doom sends like an insane looking gigantic bird, who also is like quite here in that regard. He's like, my friend, I need you to come with me. But Storm's like, okay, great. Can I ride you? And the bird's kind of like, well, you can fly, right? I really don't like people riding me. And she's like, well, I need to. So she does. And so she goes to Doom.
Why would she go? She's just like, nah, I can't go.
I don't know.
I don't have powers.
All right. But she needs to deal with Dr. Doom. So that's fun. We're just like bridging Storm into the greater Marvel universe. Obviously she's an Avenger right now, even though I've never read a single issue of the run where she is an Avenger. But I assume that it's still going fine. I know Thor walked away, so now she's there. But yeah, it's fun. It's a really, really fun series. This issue in particular was like very X-Men. Like it felt very like you understood why Storm would have a mini series, or at the very least a series of her own.
Right.
And how it was connected to the greater X-Men books, even if maybe you're not reading them.
Can we just talk about how much I love this cover? I don't know who's doing the cover art. It's great. I love that her hair looks like a storm cloud. Like that's so great. Also, I love these two. These are like 2 of my favorite mutants together.
Yep, and they know it. Like they really want you. They're playing that up a little bit.
Talk about a power couple of friends.
Yeah, that's Matthias Manhanini. Is doing the covers on these and doing a really fantastic job.
Yeah, so good.
Yeah, it's a good book. It's actually like a really fun, really easy read, and gives you a little insight into this character that for me is much more separate and harder to get into than some of your more like other equally leveled superhero, like popular X-Men characters. Like,
right.
Wolverine, I get it. Iceman, sure. Cyclops got it. But like Storm, I'm kind of like, what's her deal? Not that I don't know her powers, but like, what makes her tick? What's her story?
What does she want in life?
Exactly. What does she want out of life? So yeah, a good book. Good read.
Me?
Yeah. Do you want to talk about this?
Yeah. I read FML number 2 this week by Kelly Sue DeConnick with art by David Lopez. I read the first issue of this book and said, hey, this kind of feels like a modern like Scott Pilgrim-esque story. Not trying to be Scott Pilgrim, definitely doing its own thing, but then like also witchcraft and monsters in it. And I was like, oh, cool. And this issue, I guess I should have known by the cover, was going to be more about like who I thought was the main character's mom. So like that really just kind of handed off, but it was still fun, tight, really well written.
Yeah.
Obviously the character, like they're looking at a mom who's like husband is away and she got 2 kids and one kid is like you become a monster person, right? So it's like seemingly on the surface this may not like be a character all of us could connect to.
Sure.
But DeConnick does a really good job, I think, of writing them so that you can understand them and you can maybe understand what they're going through in that moment. So yeah, it is of course taking place in like on the West Coast.
Okay.
And you know, we are dealing with like modern teenagers, and so they have to deal with like modern stressors. So you're going to see a lot of that in this book, but it is still a fun book, and I definitely want to know what's going on. Oh, also now we're adding like a murder mystery to the mom's like history, and I'm like, I got to tell you, the monster thing, I'm like, cool. I am so in on what is going on in that that I'm like, I kind of just want the book to be about that side of it now. So that's like a big like a reveal at the end. It's like, uh-oh, there might be something else going on. And I'm like, yes, thank you. I want more of this. So
Great.
I'm gonna probably check some more of that out.
Awesome. Well, I read Ultimate Universe 1 Year In, #1 from Chris Condon and Dennis Camp, with art by Alessandro Capuccio and Jonas Scharf. This is...
Hold on 1 second. I want to like someone asked, is that a YouTube silver play button on the cover?
I also thought that.
I thought the same thing. It is a plain door. It is a airplane door.
Yeah, for a second it did look like that.
I literally, I'm like, I have to like acknowledge that because I had the exact same thought. Apparently, so did Sal. So I'm with you on that. No. It's an airplane door.
It's a door that's belonging to an airplane.
Yeah. I also read this, by the way.
Oh, great. Well, you know, obviously I heard like from the implications of this, the suggestion was like we're gonna get kind of like an unofficial or official history of the Ultimate Universe. You know, getting a little insight into what this whole universe is all about and where all the secrets are buried and who the Ultimate Universe Nick Fury is, because of course the Ultimate Universe in today's world of the 6160 universe is just the 616 universe, but with time travel shenanigans perpetrated by the Maker. So this is Nick Fury, like from the main Marvel universe, or at least a version of him that has been altered. Now he's in charge of the organization to shield its hand. They do actually give a definition of what hand means, unlike in main continuity when Norman Osborn became the head of Hammer and they just didn't come up with a name for it or a definition for it. But no, the book is not about that at all. There are glimmers and flashbacks to like the things that Nick Fury did in the past and how some of the things that he did when he was like classic Howling Commander Nick Fury kind of line up with what he did. But no, this is a book about how Nick Fury has like reached his boiling point. He can't do this anymore. And he's lured the main movers and shakers besides the Maker himself into one central location so he can pull one grand maneuver and take out everybody, including himself.
Right.
That was, of course, like the kind of like lead up and implication throughout. Like there's undercurrent, you know, he's giving the kind of like a confession. Where he's like, this is the end of the line for me, but also hopefully an opportunity for like the world to get back on track or find its footing.
Right.
And so as the book rolls on, you start to realize that like, you know, Camp is saying something about, again, Camp likes to use the Ultimate Universe as an opportunity to talk about like today and talking about, you know, kind of a criticism / like, you know, shining a light on the contemporary concept of like patriotism and, you know, what it means to be American / like a member of this society today. And so, you know, obviously it doesn't work out. I mean, also because you're like, oh, well, Nick's going to kill everybody, but like, there's no way because they're also the massive antagonist of the Ultimates line. And they're also, you know, super powerful. And I just met Ultimate Nick Fury. So how would that be?
Right.
So no. And so he pulls his grand maneuver, nothing happens, and everybody laughs at him, and they're like, yeah, we've been doing this a lot. Like, and they point out all the things that he's probably said. They make fun of his confessional because he probably left one, because he does this all the time. They burn through Nick Fury's all the time. That it's like essentially playing with the LMD concept, the life model decoy concept. But I don't think
clones?
But they're clones, I think. I think they are living beings.
I assume that Miles Warren is involved.
I would love to see that. I would love to know what like cloning shenanigans are involved.
Yeah.
Is there a Nathaniel Essex situation? Is there a Miles Warren or the High Evolutionaries?
You can't get Nathaniel Essex involved.
I know.
You can't.
But like,
I think we all know that at this point.
But he exists. But yeah, so I love the idea that like if you're going to use Nick Fury, he's going to eventually reach a breaking point, and he's going to try and kill all the bad guys.
Sure.
And they're just like, yeah, you can't, and you won't, and we'll just laugh at you. And then they kill him, and then, or he like kind of self-destructs and dies. And then they're just kind of like, okay, moving on. And you're like, yeah, that's like the tone of the Ultimate Universe right now. It's like, it's bleak, it's dark, it's you know, not a friendly place. And there's little hope in this world.
Right.
We also get to see like how this Nick Fury, or specifically this Nick Fury, kind of like took other players off the board that no one in the creative space at the Ultimate line is interested in using or playing with.
Right,
like Howard the Duck or Lockjaw, stuff like that.
Yes.
The Inhumans themselves. There's a whole other Death of the Inhumans written by Dennis Camp. That's one panel in this whole series.
Pack.
Yeah, the Power Pack are killed.
For me, the most important thing about this book is the fact that if anyone was like, how is Ultimate X-Men going to work? They referenced it. They referenced what's going on currently.
They did, yeah.
I was like,
oh,
okay. Because once Viper was there, I was like, yo, she's gonna have to reference, because she is heavily involved with what's going on over in Ultimate X-Men right now. And I was like, okay, cool. We are making reference to this. We're making reference to the Children of the Atom and how we need to get back to that. And I'm like, okay, thank you. Yeah. Thank you so much for doing that.
Yeah.
Now I read this because I was hoping it was going to be kind of like an annual.
Yeah, me too. It wasn't.
But I'm happy to have read it, because I haven't been reading any of Ultimates.
No.
So for me, this was a really good like check-in, and I didn't feel lost.
No. Yeah. Well, because it does a good job of just kind of like giving you this protagonist, his perspective.
Yes.
Every kind of like deep cut or reference point is only referenced for the first time in this book.
But if you think about it, if folk didn't read Ultimatum, or whatever it was leading up to this.
The Ultimates.
The Ultimates. Or no, I meant...
Ultimate Invasion.
Ultimate Invasion. Thank you. If they didn't read Ultimate Invasion, and they just were like, I'm going to read Ultimate Spider-Man, I've been hearing great things, I'm going to read that. Or like, I'm going to read Ultimate Spider-Man and maybe X-Men or Black Panther, right?
Yeah.
They may have no idea about like that map that we see
in
there. So like, this was like, the 1 year in thing is kind of like, it is like a check-in.
Right.
It's like, hey, did you not read any of the stuff leading up to it? Totally get it.
That's
totally
fine.
Understand. Do you want to know a little bit more about what's going on?
Who the players are?
Here's like a surface level introduction to the players, where things are involved, and why Peter Parker needs to get himself together.
Yes.
Because like it's coming for him.
Yeah.
And like Nick Fury gives us a little bit of a timeline, right? Like he lets us know that the Maker has like one more year.
Yeah.
Or something.
Well, yeah, that's basically true. Yeah, the Maker's like locked in a kind of time prison, and he's figuring, and there is a ticking clock element where the Maker will return with Lord knows at his disposal.
Yeah. So like I actually really appreciated this, because it was also, for me, it was a good reminder.
Yeah.
Too. I was like, oh yeah, because like, yes, I am, reading Ultimate X-Men, I'm reading Ultimate Spider-Man, I'm reading Ultimate Black Panther. But it's like good for a reminder to be like, oh yeah, the Rasputins, they're doing something. They're on the table. Hulk is on the table. And I'm like, oh yeah, because they're not in the books I'm reading. I'm not reading the Ultimates.
Right.
So I'm not
those characters are all like, this is a very easy book to pick up if you are reading Ultimates.
Yes.
A, in tone, B, in story, C, in characters. You'll see a lot of the same faces. But yeah, it's a smart move. It was an interesting book.
Yeah, but I was going to say, but if you are reading just the other books that aren't the Ultimates,
this might
you can also pick this up and just read this in like a vacuum.
Yeah, if you're like only reading Ultimate Black Panther and you're like, I kind of want to know what's going to happen, like how what Hickman does or Dennis Camp does might derail what I'm reading. It's not a bad place to check in.
Yeah.
But yeah,
so
dig it.
It's nice. And also I did appreciate that Camp had a dig at comic books.
Yeah.
Just,
Yeah, I know. I was like, I thought that rang very mean-spirited, but also it's like, yeah, in this world, I could believe it.
I didn't know if it like read like that. I think it was just like that.
No, I didn't think it was, but it could be construed.
Oh,
as
for
such.
sure.
Yeah, they're like they're like we've reached out to in all the entertainment mediums, including comic books, and they're like, do people even read those anymore? That's the reference.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
But yeah, fine book. A little bleak for me, but I was just kind of like, I don't love everything about this universe. Like I'm not like, but that's very par for the course when it comes to the Ultimate Universe for me. Whether it's 6160 or 1610, my entry point is Pete, and anything else is kind of noise to me. But I am still regularly reading the Ultimates just to kind of get a temperature read on what the universe is all about. You can tell that like Hickman really trusts camp to kind of
Yeah.
build out the world, while he himself is kind of like in a bubble,
Yeah.
outside of just writing, Ultimate Spider-Man, which
Right.
doesn't seem to have like too much bearing on the larger world. Although I do expect at least Ben and Jonah to factor in to
For sure.
the makers, to Hickman's plans.
Yes, absolutely.
But yeah, good stuff. So yeah, what else are you reading?
What else did I read?
Ultimate X-Men.
I read Ultimate X-Men this week. This is written, of course, written and drawn by Peach Momoko. Yeah, it always throws me off when I do this one because I'm just like, and with art by, and I'm like, you already said that.
Yes,
you already said that. So if you did read Ultimates 1 year later, yeah, they weren't kidding that like things are coming to a head with the Children of the Atom. People throughout Japan have begun to hate and fear mutants.
Okay.
So we're starting to see what tends to happen when people have mutant abilities.
Yep, specifically those
folks are not thrilled with you, right?
Mm-hmm.
But there's something more to this. There's something more happening here, right? Because there's like the Maester.
Okay.
Yeah, it's Maester. I was like, I was right the first time, and then I doubted myself. The Maester, who's like the leader of the Children of the Atom, but seemingly doesn't have any powers, and also is working for Viper. Viper is not his like partner.
Okay.
And he's there. He's just trying to keep a lid on some things for right now. They are attempting seemingly to like position people.
I see.
To do like there's like some bigger thing here, and obviously in Ultimates, we saw like yes, like that is confirmed. Viper works for the Emperor.
Yeah, right.
Directly, and it's like his mouthpiece, and so like this is part of like a much larger plan, obviously. But in the middle of it, you have all these like students, these children, like, these actual children who are reaping the like ire of
their actions.
Yeah. And they're also like some of them have been like part of this cult, part of this like brainwash. Some of them are just like, we were told you were going to attack us or hate us or fear us, and some of them are just like, hi, I wasn't part of it at all, but I have mutant powers, so now I'm like,
I'm part of it.
I'm part of it.
Yeah.
We see Armor's powers act up at one point when like the three boys who died, who were killed by the guy who like was bullied by them.
Yeah.
They show up and they try to blame her, and they're like, we have to tell us, like we know you had something to do that, we know you know something more.
Yeah.
And so like they see like the ghostly faces of their children, like being like, oh, like, do you want to know what I did to the, what's his name? And it turns out it's actually Armor's abilities.
Oh.
So it's like her armor is acting out, but they see it as like a ghost. So like there's something else happening here, right? Yeah. Like I love when Peach gets an opportunity to draw like scary.
Yes.
Right? Because like it just comes out of nowhere, but it fits perfectly with what she's doing. But yeah, Tsubasa obviously here like has like a larger role to play within Momoko's X-Men universe. We also know that like, yes, there were human remains in that suitcase. Yes, they seemingly are experimenting, and now the big question is like, are the mutants created? Are they not? Is the blood being siphoned for something else? We see the Maester like needing like, oh, I need like blood. I need to drink the mutant blood. Like and it's like, where are we going with this? Right?
Sure.
But more importantly, we see Natsu. She's one of Nico's friends. She was the one with the eye patch. She is the Cyclops allegory. Her mom tries to get her to come out of her room.
Sure.
And she doesn't want to do it. And so like she ends up like firing a warning shot.
Oh.
And then she fires again and she ends up killing her mom. And it's like, it's really an intense sequence. Like this is the kind of stuff that like, this is why Peach has like such range in my opinion. Like she writes like fun, cutesy, beautiful things, and like, it's like, oh, here are some girls and they're trying to figure out whatever, and like blah blah blah, right? And then it's like scary horror stuff, and then there's stuff like this, and like this sequence is beautiful and really sad.
Yeah.
In which she she fires on her mom and then like is like, get up.
Ugh.
Like, like she's like, just get up, like, yelling at her, like, make me stop, like, tell me like I'm a failure, and like she just keeps shooting her, and we see her mom's body on the floor, and it's just filled with holes from her blast. Like, oof. I'm like, whoa,
yeah,
okay,
yeah,
okay. So
that's great.
Yeah, like this
I mean, it's
series
sad, but
it's yeah, no, it's sad, but like it's great because again, like it shows you that range that she has. And that like this could easily be misconstrued for just like some like manga version of X-Men or whatever. And it's like, no, she is hitting on the hallmarks in terms of like tone.
yeah, what it feels like to read X-Men.
Yeah, in a way where it's like there's drama and there's like connection and there's like, you know, people like is hatred and
Yeah.
fear. It's all there. It's just different.
Right.
So yeah, I'm telling you, if you're not reading this week to week, I think you're going to be truly rewarded when this is collected.
Easily.
But like, don't let this pass by.
No.
Like, once it does get its several collections, I think the first volume of this might already be out. I don't know. Don't let this pass by. It's just such a different take. If you like X-Men, you got to at least give the first volume of this a shot.
Yeah. Well, I also read Batman Dark Patterns #1, a highly anticipated book from Dan Watters and Hayden Sherman, rising star in the comic book industry and art. Of course, we all know Hayden Sherman from their amazing work on Absolute Wonder Woman. Or if you were a eagle-eyed viewer of ComicPop Returns, you probably know that Tiffany was a huge fan of Dark Spaces Dungeon from IDW, which was some of Scott Snyder's bleakest work, but also some of his best.
I would say definitely it's bleaker than Witches.
Easily bleaker than Witches. Witches has a glimmer of hope. But yes, check that out. But also, nice to see Dark Patterns is scratching people where they itch. I know that when I saw this cover, I was like, I need this book. And in fact, I saw Sherman's booth. I never actually got to meet Sherman, unfortunately, but I did.
I saw them.
I almost got a chance to buy this, but I didn't because I just didn't have the scratch at the moment. And also, I wasn't sure. I didn't know if this is going to be awesome. And it is. But this cover says a lot about what you can probably expect from this story. For one thing, the old classic DC logo with the flag behind it and the kind of like contemporary but also throwback font choice for Batman's title, and the big, very much fewer, less oval, more circular Batman logo.
There's no more circular about it. It is a circle.
It's a circle. It's a straight up circle, and it's like I never see it as a circle. I never see it as a circle, and it's really hitting me in the right way.
Can we talk about this really quickly before you had a chance to read this book when the cover dropped with all of its treatment on there? So I was like, look at this. I love this. And I was like, oh, really? You love this? This thing that looks like it came from the 90s. You love this?
Of all the things.
Of all the things you could love. You love this?
Yeah, this thing that looks like it was like an alternate cover from Long Halloween. Yeah, but it is awesome. And it's great. It's a really, really fun issue. And it like speaks to a funny thing about Batman lately.
Okay.
Because Batman has been, obviously he's the linchpin of the entire universe.
Sure.
Everything about Batman is like contingent on DC's success, but also that like Batman is, as a result, Batman's become this kind of like huge thing,
right.
like, ever since essentially Snyder took over Batman's become this kind of like massive multiversal hero, from the Metal Wars to just, Chip's run on, Batman universe, that kind of thing. And I've seen like lately, there have been some really exciting points about Batman. For example, last week I was singing the praises of the Jorge Fornes, Chip Zdarsky issue of Batman. I think it was 155, but I'm not sure. The point being, this arc that Chip is doing, I'm like, yeah, this is exactly what I'm looking for.
Right.
With Absolute Batman, I'm like, yes, this is exactly what I'm looking for. And Dark Patterns is in the exact same category.
Okay.
And it's because it's Batman at his core. We are looking at like essentially a distilled look at Batman doing all the things, all the hallmarks that you expect from Batman.
Okay.
He is a detective. He is grounded. He has a small support network. Like even the stuff that people do love about Batman now, like the fact that he has a sprawling roster of support in terms of Robins and partners. All these like Batman, Absolute Batman, no support except maybe his mom, and even then she's not helping him personally with the Batmaning. The Chip Zdarsky run, very little support from the Bat family. Dark Patterns, it's a flashback book. It's set in the past. Alfred, that's it.
Right.
Batman is dealing with a a serial killer. And yay, that's all I want. Lieutenant Gordon is at the helm trying to figure this out. But people are being tortured and murdered, and then essentially Batman discovers him, and he's a character that Batman can't punch because he has all these different like instruments placed at certain pressure points and vital organs and places all over his body. That's like this perfect like symphony of coordination where if he's pushed or punched in any way, he will be killed. But he can punch Batman. And I believe they call him the Wounded Man. I'm not sure.
That means he can punch him in his fists.
Right. He can punch in the face. He hasn't done it. But it's great. And I'm like, this is really cool, but it's very grounded. And I would wanted to mention, because I talked to you about this off mic. This isn't the first time, Tiffany, I've talked about this.
No.
Sorry to break the illusion for you.
Oh, sorry.
But also, you brought up another book that does the exact same thing.
You told me, like, I'm hearing really great things about Dark Pattern, right?
Yeah.
Is that what it's called?
Mm-hmm.
Online, that people like it because it's like Batman just solving a mystery.
Yes.
He's not a multiversal character. He's just in Gotham solving a problem. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, there's been a book about that for a while now that people are probably not reading.
No, Batman Full Moon, the werewolf book. I know he's dealing with werewolves, but it's like he's dealing with one werewolf. Not a whole city is becoming werewolves.
Nope. He's not going to kill the head werewolf.
Not a planet-wide werewolf attack. Not like a planet of werewolves showing up.
Right.
Not like a dark multiversal all werewolf Justice League showing up.
No.
It's just a werewolf.
It's also not like Jason Aaron's he's in space fighting space wolves, which he literally is in that book, which I also really enjoy, but also does not factor into this whole
Did that ever finish?
No, it's not done. And it'll come out someday. It'll finish one day. I don't know.
Yeah.
But this is another little reminder for you folks to pick up Batman Full Moon.
Or at least check it out.
Because it's so cool. And it's like, this is Batman Full Moon and Dark Patterns and the Zdarsky arc right now and Absolute Batman are all classic Batman.
Yeah.
The way he's like, I think, best portrayed.
Right.
Where there was a period like in the 90s when DC was unafraid to publish a Batman at any point. Now, obviously DC's unafraid to publish Batman, but like they're not pushing it in the same way. Full Moon and Dark Pattern. This is a time when they're like, these should be prestige bound, like 3-issue miniseries.
Well, and Full Moon is
one of those things.
Dark Patterns got like they got a bump because in every issue of like any DC comic, there was
Dark Patterns
there was a preview of it at the end.
Like they were afraid that like this 3-issue Batman story with new hotness Hayden Sherman was not going to sell or something.
Right.
I'm like, dude, it is.
I feel like Full Moon is going to be one of those things that people
are going to find later.
Discover later. They're going to be like, oh, okay.
It's a real shame because it's still coming out. There are still new Full Moon, so you could still go back. And I guarantee if you go to your comic book store and you ask for Full Moon, there will be a copy. But it's like, it's cool and it's
different
and it's different. It's got really, really different
Bruce's
kind of
dating's
art.
a ton of like what?
Yeah,
weird.
Just another universe of Batman. But like, it's a great time, and I think the reason why it's working and the reason why like people are giving themselves permission to be excited about Batman again is because he's being Batman again, and all the hallmarks that like people tend to stray away from because they're trying to do something new and different.
Yeah.
With Batman, have kind of like worn out their welcome. I'm not saying that I'm like against Batman and trying new things with Batman because he's obviously a versatile enough character. We could do a whole bunch of stuff, but it's a great time to be a classic Batman fan because there's so many different opportunities. And I think that's the reason why people are excited or giving themselves permission to be excited is because like, it's just a Batman story now.
Yeah.
And it doesn't like, it's not like Superman's going to show up or die, or there's going to be 16 Batmans that show up, or any number of, cynical observations about what Batman's become at this point.
Right.
There's no Harley Quinn to be seen either, or Robin's that.
Right.
Just good old classic Batman stuff. And it's like, I don't know, in the 90s and into the 2000s, there were like 700 different Batman books and they were all doing the same thing.
Right.
They were all doing Batman stories. Sometimes, but sometimes it was Poison Ivy, sometimes it was Mad Hatter, sometimes it was Two-Face, but they were all kind of just like, oh, it's a Batman story where it wouldn't have entered their wildest dreams to make Batman go to space, or Batman to have an entire multiverse of evil versions of Batman, or any number of what they're doing now. Batman goes into the multiverse and meets 700 versions of himself, and
Right.
takes all their accoutrements and put them on, and then punches a multiversal Joker maker. But no, none of those things we even have entered their minds. They're all the same Batman story, just told different ways.
Mhm.
Especially because they also didn't have a diversity of artists. So it was like, Alan Grant will write 16 other stories that are all in different titles. There's pros and cons.
Yeah.
In this case, we're getting some great stuff with Batman. I'm just hyped about it.
Dark Patterns, the way you're describing it to me, though, especially being a story from the past,
Mhm.
feels like it should be a Legends of the Dark Knight.
Absolutely, but there is no Legends of the Dark Knight anymore.
I know.
They
but
brought it back and they drove it in the ground because it sucks.
I'm just saying this should have been like Legends of the Dark Knight, and then this one's like Batman Dark Patterns. Like it was
Yeah.
Batman like Gothic, Batman
Yeah.
Shaman.
Yeah, that was the first Legends of the Dark Knight story. No, but and Legends was a great opportunity, and really, they didn't even need the name Legends of the Dark Knight. They used that to kind of do a few things. But O'Neill created the line to say, "We're farming out graphic novels of Batman.
Yeah.
We're just doing 3 to 4 issue miniseries under one banner." Also, Legends of the Dark Knight also cements it in its time. No, Dark Patterns is, for all intents and purposes, a Legends of the Dark Knight story.
Well, there you go.
It just doesn't have the moniker.
Yeah.
It'll sell better if we don't put a friggin' old legacy title.
I understand that. I mean, I don't know why, because this is literally the most legacy looking thing I've seen in a while.
I know. But I think it would confuse people. Honestly, if it with the new / old DC Bullet logo combined with that circular version of the logo of Batman's chest emblem,
Mm-hmm.
I think if you put the Legends of the Dark Knight titling on it,
Mm-hmm.
people would think it was like a reprint.
So is Dark Patterns actually its own imprint then?
I guess it would be, because
this is case number 1. We are wounded.
Yeah, because I'm hearing that there are this case 1 will be 3 issues, and then there'll be another case that's 3 issues, and then a third case that'll be 3 issues.
Okay.
So I think that another reason why they're even approaching this from the perspective of calling it Dark Patterns is it's like a Dark Spaces dungeon kind of situation.
Yes, I don't like issue 2's cover.
No, I'm not a huge fan, but I also
it just makes me uncomfortable.
Yeah, no, I think it's a great cover.
It's really well done, and it makes me uncomfortable.
Yeah. Well, it wants you to be uncomfortable. That's the beauty part.
Don't care for it.
I hear you, but I dug it. I dug it a lot, and just Batman being Batman, Gordon being Gordon, Alfred being Alfred. But also,
Alfred being Gordon.
well written, good, good, and fantastic art.
Mm-hmm.
Just a good thing overall. And then we read Amazing Spider-Man 63 from Joe Kelly and Ed McGuinness.
Is it?
Yeah, it is. Don't worry about that.
But it doesn't. But the issue literally says it's not.
Oh, what? That's weird. Justina Ireland did this issue. Interesting.
Well, someone had mentioned that. Remember?
No.
Yeah, and on our
that Joe Kelly was off the book or something like that. There was he's not credited as being the writer of this issue. Justin Ireland's doing the next 2 issues, but then Kelly's taken over at issue 65.
Interesting.
So, I don't know.
And bizarre.
Very. Didn't miss a beat really when it comes to a different narrative voice. Spider-Man fights a new type of Cyttorak villain, and also reaches not a breaking point, but rather just like a point of frustration.
Yep.
While also dying, which they kind of it feels like an afterthought. And he died. Another rod. Moving on.
This one to me, because I caught up.
You did.
I caught up. I read both issues, so bear with me while I try to remember what happens in which issue, because I read them back to back.
Mm-hmm.
Between these 2 issues, it started to make me think. I don't think this is really about the deaths or the Reeds at all necessarily.
No, it's not. By the way, I'm sorry. The art's by Gleb Melenkov. Never mind.
Who did you say?
I said Ed McGuinness.
Oh.
Anyway, continue. It's more important to be right than to have something important to say.
Okay. Well, no, I mean, it's a creative. I think we absolutely.
I agree.
Be correct. No. Yeah, I definitely think there's more to this than just I really did think I was we're gonna see with the Reeds and blah blah blah.
Yeah, we still will.
I'm starting to wonder if it has anything it's whatever. It's taking a back seat.
Nah, well, it is taking a back seat.
And that's fine.
Ireland is doing a different thing with this.
Okay. I mean, I have a feeling that person, like, that they're like doing what Kelly would want,
Mm-hmm.
because it all has to
Oh yeah, it's all got
connect.
flow and work. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I appreciate that each of the scions of Cyttorak
Mm-hmm.
are like
Different.
they're different, they're themed, and like he has to use different parts of like
His brain
or
slash
of like
power.
Spider-Man.
Yes.
Like who Spider-Man is in order to like succeed.
Yes.
It's not just about like using spells or saying the spells out loud. Yeah, let it go, everyone. Dr. Stephen Strange and every sorcerer in the Marvel Universe, or at least Strange, should be announcing the spells.
Yes.
I want that. I
Yeah.
don't care how stupid or silly you all think that is. That's what I want.
Yeah.
Say the spells.
That's part of the fun of the character.
Yes.
Is them saying those things.
Thank you.
No one asked or complained until, you know, being a smarmy like jackass became like people's personality.
That is very true. That is very true. But yeah, like I just feel like that's kind of cool. But now I'm like, how are we gonna make that fit all the way to the end? Although we have those two who like they're like siblings.
Yes, the siblings.
And
even though I think they're all the siblings, but yes,
but
these
they're
two
like
like twins or closer
Yes.
siblings than others.
But like one is like the one of them mentions that they're like they're looking for freedom essentially. And
yeah,
I'm like,
and you're like, wait, is that was not telegraphed prior to
but
this.
I think we're meant to like learn this. Like
Yes.
we're learning a little bit about the antagonist, and that there may be something more here, and maybe they're going to try to utilize Spider-Man in order to get what they're looking for.
Right. And I think I think you're hitting on something very fundamental where it's like, yeah, no, it's not like a multifaceted story is not just going to be Spider-Man learns a valuable lesson about death, nor is it going to be, let's create a situation where Spider-Man has a great new Marvel Legends figure. It's going to be like, we introduced this new phenomenon that was previously never mentioned, which is Doctor Strange fights the children of Cyttorak every year or something.
Right.
And Doctor Doom doesn't want to do it, so he makes Spider-Man the scion to do it.
I don't want to do it.
I don't want to deal with that. That's beneath me. Obviously, he's going to have to free them as well. He's going to realize, like, oh, these guys don't necessarily want to fight me, or they don't want to have to be roped into this whole thing.
Yes.
And so, because that's a classic Spider-Man trope, is like, if it's done right, him realizing that like it's not clear cut or direct the pathway to the ending / success.
Right.
He's going to have to like, oh, find another way, but also recognize these characters are themselves roped up in something. Like there's a greater antagonist at work here.
I hear that. I also appreciate in this issue, it talks something specifically about this, that he basically uses Bill and Ted
Logic
rules to win
Yep.
here.
Yep, he does. Because like, wait, time travel's involved. Okay, I've got this. Remember to do this later. And then he does. And it's like, and I like that also because Spider-Man showing up at the end to do the coup d'etat on this character in his classic costume means like A, he succeeds, B, he gets his costume back, and C, that like he's in a better place. Because he also is like, hey man, things are gonna work out. I believe in you. Goodbye.
And he's like, "Oh, why would he say that?
Don't say that.
Oh, it's gonna be bad, isn't it?"
Right, exactly. So like that's fun.
Yeah.
Pete tries to have his cake and eat it too. Aunt May acts out of character, and he calls Black Cat and chats with her a little bit. Black Cat gives like the barest minimum of advice, and things move on. So that's nice. We also get like a kind of happy birthday flashback as well. Which is cool.
Well, he goes through because of the time thing. We go through
the tricycle rider is like, you know, you have to go through all your greatest like memories / failures.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that. But in this case, it's funny because as you observed,
I don't remember what I observed.
Just that like I've done this already.
Yeah, like
I've been
Peter,
through this.
like,
People have done this to me
Spider-Man,
before.
It's like the first one. He's like, oh no, and then he's like, okay, you know what? I know what I have to do.
Right. Like let me try to save Uncle Ben. I can't. Oh, I've done this before.
Yep, I'm good. I'm good. Since I'm not normally an Amazing Spider-Man reader, like I would like to maybe take a second to talk about some of the relationships I'm seeing here, because I know for you're like kind of over some of this stuff, but I thought that it was interesting that like Peter and Felicia seem to be less developing a romance, and more developing a friendship.
Well, they've been
where
friends.
She's like, you know, like she mentioned she's single when they're stealing the thing, and then she comes back around and he's like, I should have asked you how you're doing, and I didn't. And she's like, yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. But like,
but I appreciate that, where it's less about like, you know, will they, won't they, and more about like just being like, you know, like, Peter, I get it. Like this sucks for you, but you know, just Don't be a jerk.
No, I agree. No, that's who he is. He is a jerk and he screws up all the time.
No.
But I do like, I love Pete and Felicia being friends. I grew up at a time like when I was reading regularly, they were friends.
Yeah.
They had already been together. They were friends. Pete was married, but it wasn't like weird. It was going to be weird, and it had been weird, but it moved on into something more mature and interesting. And then we kind of like, ever since like Brand New Day, it's been a free for all.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're like really close friends. Other times they're like sometimes lovers. Other times it's really combative. It's just a mess. So it's nice to see these kind of moments, but like I can't even like bring myself to believe in them because he's going to punch her in the face one day, like he did when he was Doc Ock, or he's going to sleep with her, or she's going to like use him. Like I mean, even her stealing the crown and then him stealing it back is like
I think he tells her to leave it.
No, he steals it from her. She's like, at least I have the crown. And he's like, I couldn't let you leave without it. Like he picks her pocket.
Oh, that is not what I thought would happen there. Hang on. Like I wanted to mention that it's like she like obviously he's going through a hard time, but she does a really nice job of like giving him like an interesting pep talk.
Yes.
But the pep talk is basically just like find your joy where you can.
Yep.
And like just like that's all you can have. And I'm like, I appreciate that from her, and I appreciate what she's sharing with him. And that it's not necessarily the worst advice, but it's not applicable to him. Which like I feel like should be like, you're dealing with Felicia Hardy. You need to take everything she says with a grain of salt and recognize that could be honestly good advice.
Yeah. Or it's self-serving.
Yeah, very self-serving, because I mean that's who she is. So like I feel like they did a good job of like writing her character.
Absolutely.
Where it's like, no, I care, but like I really care about me.
Yeah, it's actually interesting. I'm wondering if just Ireland has like a good read on Felicia and perhaps might have a good pitch for her.
See, and this is why I think that she gives him hit, because she's like, well, I appreciate you not taking it from me, and he's like, yeah, about that. And then she like leaves and she's like, you stink, Spider. I think he's just like,
I thought he took it from her while they were talking.
I think he's like, fork it over.
That's fine with me.
Fine.
Yeah, like they didn't even have to, like, let's not do the thing.
Yeah. So Shay, I think, is interesting.
Yeah, I don't care for Shay, but I don't care for anyone that lives with Peter. But like also I don't have a read on Shay.
I don't have a read on Shay either, other than in this moment for me within a vacuum.
Yes.
Because I've met
within
her,
this issue.
I have met her literally in issue 61 for me.
Yeah.
Like I'm just like, oh, there she is. Cool, whatever. It's like sweet that she decides to take him for a picnic and simultaneously not helpful, because it's like you have to realize, and I agree, sometimes you just got to take a moment.
Yes,
right?
absolutely.
But Peter has literally so much going on, regardless of her knowing he's Spider-Man.
No,
or
just
not,
the Peter Parker
there's
stuff.
Just
he's
so much going on in his
with Randy.
life.
He's dealing with Aunt May and the feast thing. Like there's just too much going on.
Like,
she's like, well, but you need to get your clothes. And
he
get
has
your
no
food
job.
And,
like.
Meet me in this park and do this thing. Yeah, Shay is just like,
I feel like you should find another way to support him.
Yeah,
that isn't like taking him away from what he may need to focus on. Yeah. But it's just to give us this opportunity for them to be having like, it's just trying to capture like a classic Spider-Man moment where he's like, he's with the girl, but like, won't like, what's gonna happen?
Right. And also the twins show up and they're like, this is normally where we would show up and interrupt it, but like they're more interesting because they're like, wait, I want to get the full picture here. Let's keep watching.
We better understand who he is.
Exactly. But also to point on Shay for a minute, I don't care about Shay. I'm not like angry. She's not like a Paul character. It's just that like Shay really reads to me like a Sissy Ironwood or like the girl from the bank in Astonishing Spider-Man Wolverine. It's just, she's another character that'll be on a list that Comic Drake does one day. And it's just like, all right,
Didn't you do one of those first?
I did, yeah. It's one of our most viewed videos.
Yay!
But like, it's just, she's there and she doesn't really bring anything. The problem is Peter's the protagonist. She doesn't bring anything out from Peter that's very interesting.
Right.
And we're all just waiting for it to end. Like, because they all do. Like, remember when Peter dated that girl that was like his roommate and she hated him and then he slept with her and maybe it was Chameleon and it's kind of like really problematic and then it like didn't work out because it wouldn't at all and she eventually just evaporated and it's like, yeah, no.
Maybe she's a scion of Cyterac.
Yeah, I mean, maybe, and then she'll just disappear. I'm just saying, like, my point is more or less like, hey, Ultimate Spider-Man is eating your lunch. where everyone's talking about the Mary Jane situation. You're trying to make this other character work in the main title, and like at best nobody cares.
Mhm.
Maybe this is a reality. Like, you know what's a thing? Not dating anybody.
Oh, it is.
Like,
it's a
but
real reality.
but if he doesn't date anybody, then what's the point of undoing the marriage? Like, I think it's just like, how about he doesn't try to emotionally damage anyone right now outside of his friends and loved ones? Like, how about we just leave it alone? Don't answer that right away. And I think it's, I think it's just, she's there.
Yeah.
I feel bad. I feel bad for this fictitious character because I know she's going to either turn into a goblin or she's going to disappear. Like, she's literally going to evaporate.
Right.
Like tears in rain. So yeah, it's a fine book. It's a fine issue. It wasn't like the worst thing in the world. It wasn't and then it ends with like, Juggernaut being like, oh yeah, that's right, I have like a crystal cider rack in me. But
yeah, I gotta like go or something.
I don't know. Is anybody reading the X-Men book?
Well, you know what? That's funny because I'm wondering if, obviously I feel like regardless of who's writing it, that Joe Kelly helped to plot this out. But I remember you told Ethan and I about that story involving the Juggernaut. I'm like, are we going to make any references to that?
Right? Oh yeah, with Madam Web.
Yeah,
that'd be kind of fun.
Where it's just like, don't make me put you in
in cement. Oh yeah, the idea that like Juggernaut has like PTSD from having been like drowned in cement by Spider-Man. That'd be really fun. He's like, I hate you. Yeah, I don't not recommend it. It's just kind of like, yeah, it does have a real, it feels like it's the main book, but it also has like a kind of like placeholder feel.
Yeah.
And that's a shame. Because I don't think Marvel has any plan or any idea about who's going to take over this book after Joe Kelly's done, even if Joe Kelly isn't even writing the goddamn book anymore. So who knows?
Maybe the person who wrote these is doing their demo, essentially.
I mean, it'd be nice if there was it'd be nice to have on your resume, or at least Marvel's resume, like, we let a woman actually write this book for a while. Like Amazing Spider-Man.
Right.
Outside of Kelly Thompson being one of like 3 or 4 writers during the Beyond arc.
Right.
But yeah, man. So let's get into some super chats. Yeah, dude.
What's your book of the week, though?
My book of the week, that's a fantastic question. It probably has to be Batman Dark Patterns.
Fair.
But a close contender comes with I think Storm was really fun.
Very fair.
And yeah.
Oh my gosh, wait a minute. Terminator 3 came out.
It did. Terminator 3 came out from Dynamite.
That's not fair.
No.
That is not.
That's true. Terminator number 3 of 5 is out from Declan Shalvey, David O'Sullivan, and there's a backup as well from fantastic artist Colin Craker.
And Sal.
Yes.
Sal Crivelli.
Yes, I am also a writer of the backup to the Terminator.
That's right, you are.
Yep.
And that's the part we're gonna talk about the most.
Okay.
Because that's listen, why are we here?
Right. Well, then the point I should make is, again, and I have to reiterate this because it's such a kind of hard thing to wrap people's heads around, and I don't blame you because it's not my first decision, but I ain't in charge. I wrote a 10-page backup. It's a 10-page story from beginning to end, page 1 through 10. What they thought was a good idea, and I don't necessarily disagree because it netted me an opportunity to be on 5 freaking issues of Terminator. They broke up the story 2 pages at a time across 5 issues. So issues 1 through 5 feature 2 pages of the 10-page backup that I wrote, and Colin Craker drew expertly. So if you buy all 5 issues of Terminator numbers 1 through 5, you can collect them and read all 10 pages across all 5 issues.
Yes.
So that's why that's how it is. And I know that because it's Terminator and it's Dynamite, it might be harder to reach because, stores have to make cuts and decisions, which is why we've been very heavy on the reminders to pre-order your books. Especially in this case, I was like, hey, listen, make sure to just tell your comic book store I want issues 1 through 5. That is the best way to help me, help the title. I know that Terminator issue 5, the last issue, the final order cutoff. We've talked about this before, but the final order cutoff is the last day that you can pre-order the book. But the final order cutoff for the final issue of my 10-page story arc and the first kind of arc from Declan Shalvey is December 18th. So that is 2 days. So you have 2 days to tell your local comic book store, hey, I would like to make sure that I get a copy in my pull list for issue 5 of Terminator. So that's what you would do. That's how you would tell people to pre-order your books. By the way, that's how you pre-order every book. And I should say that if you ever get in the weeds about how the comic book industry works or how comics are made, if you are like, man, I love, mini series about, or I love series about like some of my more niche characters like Cloak and Dagger or Ambush Bug or anybody. If you see that happen, like a book coming out, like Plastic Man, for example, that Black Label Plastic Man book, it's a mini series, but if the pre-order numbers were high, people would take notice. And when I say people, I mean publishers, the people over at DC, Marvel, or in this case, Dynamite. They'll take notice and say, hey, people want this book, and they will keep the book alive longer than they would if the pre-order numbers were low. It's just the nature of the beast. It sucks. No other industry is like, hey, I need mustard. I'm going to tell my grocery store that I'm going to need mustard in 6 months. Should have pre-ordered me mustard. And I'll come back at some indeterminate period between now and 6 months from now and pick up my mustard. No one does that. I understand. Maybe you might want to take a stand on that. I know a lot of people are complaining about the pre-order structure. You are not going to beat Goliath in this case. This is how the modern Western comic book industry works, and it sucks, and I'm sorry, and it's also how we do things. Sometimes we got to eat our vegetables. Anyway, that's how you would support the Terminator book. And maybe there'll be more for me.
Okay.
Maybe.
All right.
That'll be very nice.
All right.
There might be conversations ongoing about maybe more. We'll see.
That'd be
but
cool.
In the meantime, I'll let the the audience be the judge. If you read the first 10 pages, hopefully you enjoy it and you can check out that and make your judgment call from there. I understand that when there is a trade paperback collection of the first 5 issues, the backup will be collected, I believe, in sequence. So
That's
you can read
great.
all 10 issues.
I love it.
Or 10 pages.
10 pages.
And we'll let you know when that becomes available for pre-order as well.
So issue 3 has pages 5 and 6. Am I right about that? I was mathing awful hard over here.
Right.
I was like, okay, 1, 2.
Yeah, because issue 5 has 9 and 10. Yeah. Issue 4 has 7 and 8.
Okay. So issue
3 has
5 and 6.
5 and 6.
Thank you so much. How do you feel about page 5 and 6?
I haven't had a chance to really look through it. I've seen some of these pages. I don't get to see them very often, and my local comic book stores didn't have a copy.
Oh no!
I know. I do have a copy.
Is it not on my pull list?
It's on my pull list, and my comic book store hasn't mailed me my copy.
What the heck?
I know. But I look forward to looking through it. I've seen the thumbnails and I've seen the pencils, and they look fantastic. And Colin Craker, great job. He's also the colorist on the main series, so it's definitely worth supporting that fine artist as well.
But in terms of in terms of Terminator, I'm trying not to spoil anything because I want people to be able to read it, right? And just have a fresh experience. But it feels like it's so funny because it's like Terminator, right? Obviously, it conjures all sorts of imagery of scary metal skeletons, not endoskeletons, but skeletons.
They're endoskeletons.
Yeah, skeletons walking around, the end of humanity and all that. But there is there's always this human element. So did you feel like that was really important for you to have?
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, I've always wanted to. I love Terminator. My one of my oldest and best friends introduced me to the property in the first place, and I immediately clicked with it. And it wasn't just because I wanted to impress him; it was because I really wanted to I love this universe and I love the story. But what I loved about it was twofold. It's the same reason why I love Spider-Man. In fact, it's on one hand, you get in the door from the awesome endoskeleton and Future War. That's awesome and cool. Yeah. But also, you stay and you're interested because of the human story, because of how kind of basic, but how fundamental it is. And Jim Cameron was just a genius when it came to that. He didn't overcomplicate it. He didn't make it one guy comes in from the past. There's a great moment in Terminator 1, which is actually the one property that Dynamite licensed to tell Terminator stories. The way it works is you don't just say, I want Terminator, and then you can tell stories about T-1000s and all the. You need to license the particular property. For example, you might see how books are called Army of Darkness versus such and such. You're like, yeah, Army of Darkness is the third Evil Dead movie. Why don't you call it Evil Dead? Because they didn't license Evil Dead. They licensed Army of Darkness. So you can use only the elements from Army of Darkness in your licensed story. Sure. In this case, we can only use the elements from Terminator 1984, which is fine because they're all there except for the Liquid Terminator, which is fine. So that's all to say, there's a great moment in Terminator 1 where Sarah, who is, of course, a waitress and hasn't really asked a lot of complicated questions in her life, is faced with this impossible situation where she's being hunted down by seemingly a serial killer, and her future lone warrior protector / captor is trying to explain to her the situation, and she's like, wait, like, so you're from the future? And he says, one possible, I don't know, I don't get tech stuff.
Right.
Just so smart to make these characters like grunts.
Yeah.
It's why Aliens is so relatable. It's
Sure.
why Titanic is so relatable. It's not about like there are geniuses at work and we occasionally get to see them, but they don't talk for very long. It's mostly about like people falling in love and people trying to survive. It's such a basic understanding of human nature.
Yeah.
And it's one of the things that made me connect very deeply with this franchise. Also, the fact that robots in the future that look like skeletons are freaking dope looking, and I love seeing them. And I love to put them in awkward situations that make them even scarier. So in this case, I was definitely afforded an opportunity to put 2 in there. They didn't ask me to. I was just like, ooh, we can get 2 in there. And so we get to see them in different states of disrepair, so to speak, which is the coolest part of Terminator. It's not just, oh, there's an endoskeleton. Those are fun, but there's thousands of them. You can literally pull out like Superman versus Terminator, which is a book that came out back in the day. And there's one cover with like 10,000 Terminator endoskeletons. No, it's the fun part of like, oh, their face is half off.
Yeah.
That's why they put so much effort, Stan Winston Studios, etc., like into making Arnold look like he's really doing that, because it's like, it's not enough to just do a puppet. You got to do the puppet plus the human.
Sure.
So it's, that was part of it.
Yeah, but it's cool. But these 2 pages like has like the human, you put like human, like heart.
Yes.
Not a heart, but not a human heart. But
no. Well, there is a human heart in there. I don't remember if his heart is ripped out, but it is. No, it's
but
not.
There is like, there is heart, and like there is like human emotion and human connection in here, but also like in the middle of like a crazy Terminator fight.
Exactly. No, and like it's funny because you get a lot of things out of 10 pages somehow, and it was because, I mean, objectively, or not objectively, but rather behind the scenes, I mean, like I wrote like 6 or 7 or 8 page like pitches. So like they were like, you got an 8-page story. I bumped it up to 10 pages, and then I gave them like 3 or 4 in the beginning, and then I gave them 4 more after that. So I had at least 8 to 10 different pitches,
right,
that were all for a 10-page story. And through that process, I was able to like figure out what's the hook, what's the fun, and if this is my only opportunity to tell a Terminator story, would I feel satisfied with it? And I think I am. I want more, obviously, because if you give a mouse a cookie, but like I do like feel that this says a lot about what I like about Terminator.
Yeah, I agree.
It's got it all in there. But yeah, it's
agree.
really important to like get people that you like in there. And it's hard to introduce you to a character or multiple characters that aren't Terminators in 8 to 10 pages.
Yeah, I feel like you did a really good job.
Oh, thank you.
The Hassan is like really.
Yeah.
Like you get to know him, even like in the few panels we know him for so far. Like I'm like, I kind of have a beat on who this character is. So like
cool. And you can infer a lot from like the fact that they want to kill him gives you an indication about like what kind of a person he is.
Yep.
But you also see what he does, and his decisions are also really helpful because like I can't load it with dialogue.
No.
So yeah,
like,
I have to show.
He chooses to get involved.
Yes, he does get involved. Yeah, Hassan's cool. And yeah, is he named after a friend of ours from the old Absolute Comics days? Maybe. Not fully, but Hassan is his first name. I should point out somebody did a great review of ours, but they thought that his last name was Hassan, but no, his first name is Hassan.
Okay,
he's Dr. Hassan. I can't remember his last name. It's been a while since I wrote it, and you only really see it the one time when it's in front of Terminator Vision. Chafik. It's Hassan Chafik. But yeah. So
great. Hooray!
Thanks. Thank you very much.
Possibly the book of the week.
Oh, you're very kind.
It is the book.
Oh, thanks.
The backup is the book of the week.
You're very
for
sweet.
Me.
So let's jump into some super chats before we recommend comics that are coming out this week that we think you should check out.
Let's do it.
Lexa Power, thank you for generosity.
Wow, thank you.
Hello, ComicPop. What Christmas movies and TV show specials do you watch yearly? For me, it's Santa Claus, the Santa Claus 1, 2, and 3. Polar Express, Elf, and Christmas Chronicles, Xmas with the Joker, Justice League, Always Sunny, Supernatural, and Charlie Brown Christmas. I mean, if you celebrate the holidays or particularly the Christmas season, and you like love pop culture and those specials as much as we do, you try to like spread it out and watch them all in like kind of over the time that you have. We ourselves just checked out Will Vinton's Claymation Christmas, which is a classic favorite of mine. It was a huge influence on me growing up. We watched that with our moderator Dan Yell. That was a lot of fun. Love that special. If you haven't already checked it out, you should. Will Vinton's Claymation Christmas. It's just great. And if you're wondering who these characters are, don't worry about it. You don't have to worry about it. It's not. They don't mean to give you context. We also are a huge Garfield's Christmas special family ourselves. It might be one of my favorite Christmas specials of all time. But Charlie Brown is another huge one that I definitely overlooked as a kid. As a, if you grew up in the 90s, you're a really cynical person probably because you knew you wanted to be cool. And Charlie Brown is one of like the most like deliberately like not saccharine, but it's like it's such a wholesome thing.
It's what your family would put on.
Yeah,
like, that's what you grow up with.
Right. But I'm like lame. But I've learned to love it since I knew it meant so much to you, and we watched it. It's an annual tradition in our house as well, and so I like that one as well. We watched the Alf Christmas special. It's not I believe it's called an Alf Special Christmas.
Don't watch that.
From 1987.
I didn't want to do
that. It
is
free on YouTube. You can watch it anytime.
Don't. I was a hostage.
I didn't know. I'd never seen it before myself, and so I was really excited to try it out because I'd heard it was like a whole thing, and it is a whole thing. It's really friggin' weird.
No.
If you wanted to know what happened to Cleavon Little after Blazing Saddles, he did the Alf Special Christmas.
No, stop.
He's in that. He plays Santa Claus. It's really fun, but it's also a nightmare and it's horrible. And it'll give you a really good indication as to what it was like to watch Alf back in the day. If you're not familiar with Alf, definitely watch the special.
I also want to toss out that I love Polar Express as well.
Yeah,
I know like it's a divisive.
It is a divisive one.
It's a divisive one. That's like a hot take, which I was like,
it's divisive in our own friend group. There are people who are like really angry. Polar Express.
To me, like I'm just like holiday specials are such a low like
stakes situation.
Yeah, like I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
There's something about it, especially with like the like hobo character.
Yeah.
I like him a lot. I like how creepy he is.
He is creepy.
I like that element to that special, and I don't know why. I like it a lot. That movie, yes. Thank you for reminding me Christmas Chronicles exists.
Yes, we watched both of those movies when they came out. We enjoyed them.
Yes. Yeah, we did.
We
absolutely did. And then, of course, my all-time favorite is Muppet Family Christmas.
Muppet Family Christmas. Not the Muppet Christmas Carol, but rather the Muppet Family Christmas. A movie that doesn't exist as far as Disney's concerned, and you definitely need to watch it. It's absolutely one of the greatest, Muppet projects of all time. Certainly the most ambitious.
It's very heartwarming.
It is.
But also I like the Patrick Stewart Christmas Carol.
Yes, the Patrick Stewart Christmas Carol, which is made exclusively for TBS and is now available on DVD again. I think you can go to Walmart and buy it. Is one of the best adaptations. It's also one of the most like kind of accurate adaptations. Although I hear that the Jim Carrey one, despite it being ugly, is one of the most accurate to the book adaptations.
Yeah.
And I particularly love the Patrick Stewart one, but I also love the George C. Scott 1984 or 7, I'm not sure which year, Christmas Carol. That's another one. I just love George C. Scott's version of Scrooge and everybody else in it. Really good different takes on that character.
Yeah.
And I love the Christmas Carol. We also watched It's a Wonderful Life yesterday, which was a lot of fun. I'd never really seen it all the way through. I saw it live as a play once, but like didn't really stick with me. But it's really great. I actually just saw that apparently Screen Rant did like an article where they were like the top 10 worst things about the movie and like about It's a Wonderful Life. And they're just all L takes. Like they're just the worst. It's entirely rage bait. And I'm like, congratulations, Screen Rant. You've created a rage bait article that is just bad reads or misinterpretations or misunderstandings or just fundamental lies. It's just a really weird, like, hey, I'm Screen Rant. I guess you know why CBR sucks now. But yeah, it's just woof. But yeah, we love those. There's so many more. I mean, if you want a classic that I think is available on streaming now, The Christmas Toy, also from Jim Henson, is another one. You'll watch it and go, wait a minute. Like there will be moments where you're like, wait a minute. Especially if you love Muppet Family Christmas, because they use the song, because they're like, nobody saw The Christmas Toy. Let's just use that song. We wrote that whole thing.
Muppet Family Christmas is better.
It is better. It's a better use of the song, but it's also just A Christmas Toy was a really, The Christmas Toy is a really fun story. I loved that one growing up. And there's so many more.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, someone mentioned Die Hard.
Die Hard. We love watching Die Hard.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, like, there are certain things that are not Christmas at all, but like your brain associates with them.
Yep.
Like obviously, Lord of the Rings is associated with Christmas.
Yeah, because it came out on Christmas every year for 3 years.
I watched Summer Wars at a particularly stressful time of my life around Christmas, and so sometimes that is a Christmas movie for me. It's an anime.
They're aware of what Summer Wars is.
I don't know. I just wanted to explain. This is a comic book show, not an anime show.
Yeah, well.
What is next?
King of New York says, I've been Craven off the rack all week. Lol. Yeah, we saw Lord of the Rings War of the Rohirrim instead of Craven.
Yep.
And I've been
We made
validated
the
in
right
that.
choice.
We made the right choice there. Cat Lawyer, what wrong lesson will Sony learn this time? Well, because Craven was a colossal failure, both technically, creatively, and financially. The wrong lesson will probably be to put Spider-Man in everything, because apparently they could have put Spider-Man in all their things anyway, and they didn't.
They should just get Andrew Garfield. He'll do it in a heartbeat.
He will do it. Just but they're talking about like making a reboot of their universe, and I'm like, what are you doing? And I know that they're not going to sell back to Marvel, even if, but I think that is the best way to do it. I mean, like, it's because, look, you're Avi Arad, you're Amy Pascal, you're like the head of Sony. You're not young. You're not spring chickens. Like you're
not starting over.
You're not starting over. Or if you are, you're only going to live or be available halfway through the start of your next universe, which again will be critically and commercially panned because nobody likes these movies. Outside of Venom, and even then, the only thing people liked about Venom was the fact that Tom Hardy was Venom, and he's not anymore. So there you have it. But I firmly believe that like Sony would rather rob a bank than make a movie because they're so creatively bankrupt. Like they just want money. They just want the money. They don't want to like tell a story. If they did, they would have already.
Right.
So I think like, look, $4.5 billion for Spider-Man. That's not a bad windfall, especially with how many millions of dollars you lose annually making bad Spider-Man adjacent movies. $4.5 billion. I think Disney would take that deal. And I would too. Damn good deal. Noah says, ComicPop Woo, like Dark Patterns, thought Wolverine was good, but I don't know if I'd buy the next issue. And I have to wait for T3 because Dynamite's warehouse is closing, makes it a little late in my store. Well, I'm sorry to hear that, man. And then, yeah, it might have been late at my store as well. I'm not sure. Or at least the store I went to.
Yeah.
But interesting. But thank you for the support. We really appreciate it, man. King of New York, I should have said I've been Craven off the rack all week. Have to leave early again this week, but I'll be there next week once the holidays start. Well, thank you, King of New York. Excellent pun. Nicely done, sir.
Wow.
Nick Palmer, good evening, Sound Tiv. I just wanted to say I love you and appreciate everything you guys do. Well, thank you very much. We appreciate you as well. Also, currently watching every episode of Back Issues again. Well,
wow.
Welcome
now,
to the rewatch.
A holiday tradition.
That is a holiday tradition and a half. Thank you so much, man. Let me know what your favorites are.
Christmas,
the ComicPop Christmas specials.
The time before yesterday.
Oh yeah, 'Twas the night before yesterday.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
that's my favorite Christmas special.
Oh, you're very well. You're great at it.
It's not because of me. It is literally I just like. You're funny, and so are all our friends.
So are you. Tea Time 480. Hey. When's Babu Frick coming back anyway? I don't know, man. I mean,
you barely did a Babu Frick there. Thank you.
I need to buy him. I need to get him. I didn't.
You had an opportunity. You're like, no, out of hand. You're like, no.
It was really because I didn't want to carry it. Like, I didn't want to bring it on a plane. I was like, this is gonna be a pain in the ass. I should have just shipped it.
Yeah.
Because he is a little cheaper at Disney World than he is like on eBay. But yeah. I was just like, what am I going to do with him? Nothing. Just like J.J. Abrams. Dan Dragon, hey guys, love your podcast and Terminator story. Well, thank you very much. I'm glad you appreciate it, man. Off the topic question, what superhero or supervillain in Marvel or DC would be perfect to do a Christmas Carol story with? Dr. Doom is the first answer.
I literally had the same thought. I was like, it's Dr. Doom.
Yeah, Dr. Doom, Lex Luthor would be fun, but he'd learn the wrong lesson. I mean, Kingpin is a great one because he's rich and powerful and he lives in a tower. Batman is a great one.
Batman's a great one because I'm thinking specifically if you make it Christmas Carol and you make it actual ghost, he's like.
Yeah, they did it. Well, they didn't do that specifically, but Jeff Loeb and Tim Sale did a one, but it was Halloween themed, but it was still a Christmas Carol.
Yeah. Oh, that's right.
And the ghosts are his villains and stuff.
No, but it should just be ghosts.
Yeah, I agree.
Where it's just like he's like, I hate
everything about this.
I hate everything.
Yeah, I love that.
Supernatural.
Daredevil will be a really fun version of that.
Yes.
Because he's like, why me? I'm already trying to do good. And they're like, well, I don't think so.
No, you know what? No, Batman. Yeah, the Christopher Carol doesn't really work there because it has to be someone who's like borderline.
Yeah, I would love to see It's a Wonderful Life for Daredevil though.
Yeah.
Or Pete.
Yeah.
But
Pete, like that writes itself.
I know, it's done. It's like, oh, you want a book that writes itself? Boom, there you go.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Did you say Lex Luthor already?
Yeah, Lex Luthor, but he would learn the wrong lesson.
Oh, 100%. No, he's not going to be changed from this whatsoever.
Tea Time 480, thoughts on Reeves producing a Clayface movie in the DCEU, even though he's restricting Batman because he insists upon himself? Normally I'd say this is a horrible idea because I don't like the idea of making more of them, but Penguin is one of like the highest rated DC projects in the last 20 years. Also, Mike Flanagan is making the Clayface movie. I feel like, look, Matt Reeves is gonna leave at some point. And if Clayface is cool and is more like the cartoon than he is whatever the hell Matt Reeves' dark, gritty, grounded version would be, then I'm in.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm also in for James Gunn just rolling it all in, baby.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that's a conversation. There's no way it isn't. But yeah, I'm down. Cat Lawyer, in my circle, people don't see Lord of the Rings as a franchise. Good for them. Jamzilla, hey, Comic Pop. I really enjoyed the recent Amazing Spider-Man issue, although the focus of his new relationship with Shay felt a little meh. There you go.
Wow, yeah.
Other than that, I hope Justina Ireland is the next writer of Amazing Spider-Man. Well, she did a nice job.
This is like, yes, thank you.
Yeah, good
We
night.
did not see the super chat before.
No,
we were
nice
talking
observation,
about
Jamzilla. Thank you, man.
You're
Yeah.
aligning today.
MP, do you feel Batman comics are getting back on track? Dark Patterns, Last Halloween, Batman and Robin Year One, the three main books all feel like classic Batman stories. Is this change? Is the change in group editor part of it? I mean, it takes a year or so to make these books. I don't know about that, but I also, the group editor could be, certainly the direction creatively is dictated by the editors who dictate them. But
then they are dictated by them.
But I do feel like we're in a great time for Batman right now.
Very nice. Yeah. For some reason, B&RY1 made me think it was some sort of K-pop group for a second.
Yeah. I love it. A secret boss, ComicPop Woo to you as well. On holiday schedule, finally got to catch the show live from start to finish. Well, I'm glad you were here, man. Welcome back.
Hanging out with us.
Dan V900 Dark Patterns is a series of 4 cases at 3 issues each. It's an awesome idea. Love the first issue. The Francesco Francavilla variant for the second issue of Full Moon is great. In case you haven't seen it, haven't. Hulkzilla, remember the days when Deborah Whitman was the new love interest? I do not. I was not around during that time. But I do remember reading them afterwards and being not interested in Deborah Whitman. I was like, this girl doesn't bring anything good out of Peter and is kind of a wet blanket. And I was right. Tom Waiting, there is a hip-hop song, Czarface, called Zarv Wolfman.
No,
That's
there's
awesome.
a hip-hop song by Czarface.
Oh, by Czarface called Zarv Wolfman. That's awesome. Hulk Crossroads on back issues when, or maybe more Peter David Hulk, or just Hulk. We will do more Hulk at some point. I would like to. I like Hulk. Hulk helps. Hulk helps out the channel. He's not a bad choice to make.
Is he hulking out?
Yeah. And it's not that big. There's a biopic on Robert E. Howard starring Vincent D'Onofrio. Thought Tiffany might like it.
Ooh.
Yeah, he's great. Yeah, Tiffany loves Vincent D'Onofrio. He wasn't mean to her in an elevator or anything.
He wasn't mean. He just could have been less of a
diva.
Yeah, of a diva.
Comic-Con does that to people.
Apparently.
So let's recommend some comics that are coming out this week that we think you should check out. Ultimate Spider-Man number 12. This is it. This is the end of the first year of Ultimate Spider-Man and in real time. So we're going to see that. That's exciting. I'm really excited for that. Absolute Batman number 3. Love this series. I can't wait to see more.
Well, Ultimate Spider-Man and Absolute Batman are coming in the same week. Wow.
I can't wait to see who sells better.
I don't care. Just, hooray. That's exciting. I think hopefully they sell both well.
I agree. Nightwing, I'm sorry, no. Batman Superman World's Finest number 34. I love this series. Definitely worth checking out.
Wow.
Wonder Woman 16. I'm going to see how this goes. I'm not sure, but I'll read it. And I'm excited to say New Gods is debuting with a number 1 issue. I talked to Ram V about this.
Yeah, I know.
I had to plug it.
I thought I was going to plug it.
Well, feel free to read it.
No, it's fine.
Batman and Robin Year One, number 3. This is a great series. Mark Waid, Chris Samnee. Hell yeah. I think I'm off Spectacular Spider-Man, but I'll recommend it again. G.I. Joe number 2. If you're not interested in the big 2, you might want to check that out. And Captain America number 16. We're going to see maybe Babylon 5 creator J. Michael Straczynski fix the whole Broxton, Oklahoma of it all. I don't know. The Moon is Following Us number 4 is dropping, which is going to be fantastic. Love this series as well. And I think that is, I think that's it for me. Oh, no. I am reading Jenny Sparks, although I'm not the world's biggest fan of this series. I did like issue 4 more, though. So maybe we're on the upswing when it comes to Jenny. So hopefully that will work out for her.
Okay. I have just come to the conclusion that they have put all the books this week because no one, in their opinion, is going next week.
Yeah.
This is too much, folks. My God, I started pulling things out, but like question all along the Watchtower #2. I enjoyed the first issue of this, so I'm gonna read the second one. Somehow I'm gonna find the time to read all of these because John Constantine Hellblazer Dead in America #11 is coming out.
Oh no, that's it.
I know.
It's the finale.
I know. I just got a little teary-eyed.
Oh,
like that got me. I was like,
yeah.
Oh my God, that's it.
Yeah.
Like that is it.
I'm glad he got it. I'm glad you got it.
We were not supposed to get anything.
Exactly.
And then we got that.
It's all borrowed time, baby.
I'm all on borrowed time for sure with that book.
Mm-hmm.
Power Fantasy #5 is coming out. Yo, I'm here for it.
Yep.
Plastic Man No More #4. It's the end of this series too.
Yeah.
That's ending.
All right, that takes it off your list. It's less that you have to deal with.
Takes it off the list
Yeah.
for sure. Did you talk? Are you reading
Nah.
this? No? Okay, not your thing?
I don't care.
Okay, fair. Okay. I just wanted to see what this is. They're doing a Gargoyles Winter Special.
Okay.
I can't get over how cute the cover is.
Yeah.
Literally cannot. Adorable. Can I share this?
Just hit the button.
There, I did it. Look at that.
Yep.
Look at Bronx enjoying himself out there.
Yeah.
I might have to grab that.
Just for the cover alone.
Just for the cover alone. Batman Santa Claus Silent Night Returns #4 is coming out this week. Heck yeah, Jeff Parker.
Yep.
Bring it home for us.
Bring it home.
Hellverine #1.
Yep, this is the ongoing.
Yeah, I'm probably not gonna actually jump into this. I can't. I can't.
Yeah.
Except.
Oh no.
Enter Doctor Strange. So I'll read the first issue.
Yeah, we gotta see what Doctor Strange does.
By Ben Percy. Yeah. I'd like to
there's
see
so
that.
many like Ghost Rider moments where Doctor Strange shows up in them.
I know.
That, like it's like it was a prerequisite.
Yeah, like obviously. Oh my gosh, Namor #5. Yo, there's no way I have enough time to read all. There's just no way. There's no way I don't have enough time or money for all these freaking books. Namor #5 is coming out this week or
Jason Aaron, great
Jason
series.
Aaron. Like this book
Maybe I'll get a chance to catch up on this because I really did enjoy the first 2 issues.
Freaking Tin Can Society #4 is coming out. Are you for real? There's no way.
Yeah.
I am overwhelmed.
Yes.
I'm not even whelmed. I am overwhelmed. I just want to know who's writing this.
Yeah.
Oh, neat. Okay.
I know.
I just
right?
don't know.
Yeah, I just don't know.
There's no time.
No.
There's no time.
I
There's
agree.
so many books this week. So here's what sucks about that is that means what does next week look like?
Right.
What is the following?
Oh,
week
that week,
look
by the
like?
way, is Christmas Day.
Yeah,
when
I
those
know.
Books drop. You know, like
Saga's coming out. Then why would you do that?
Absolute Wonder Woman, Spider-Man, Superman, Ultimate Black Panther. Like, there's so many books that are dropping on Christmas Day. Gargoyle at Gotham is coming back. Long Halloween, the Tom Taylor Detective Comic series. There's plenty. The Flash. Oh, Moon Knight.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So you better take.
They're like, you got time. You're off. You're not traveling or doing anything.
No.
You got time.
No.
And I'm like, I don't have time.
Right. But before we go, we also want to remind you, of course, that there's a backer kit for the 40th anniversary Thundercats collection available in both the chat and in the comments down below this video. If you're interested in getting yourself a sweet new collection of old school Thundercats comics from the former Marvel days, you should check out this backer kit, see if it's right for you. And as an added bonus, if you decide to back any of the hardcover tiers of this backer kit, you're guaranteed to get special, like variant cover single issues featuring Monsters artist Mark Spears art of Thundercats characters. So check that out if you are of a mind. But more importantly, if you are a comic book fan, you're probably aware of Marvel Rivals, a massive successful game that Tiffany played in both the alpha and the beta.
I did.
And those are played on ComicPop Plays, youtube.com @ComicPop Plays, or twitch.tv/ComicPop, depending on which format you'd prefer. Obviously, you're watching this on YouTube. You probably are going to watch on YouTube if you are going to watch it all. I highly recommend that you go into the chat, click on the link for ComicPop Plays, subscribe, and check out the dozens, if not hundreds of hours of streamed content that Tiffany has produced over the last 5 years on Twitch and YouTube. But more specifically, you'll be live probably tomorrow and Wednesday.
I thought we were going to the holiday lights.
Oh yeah,
tomorrow.
we're going to the holiday some other time.
I'm going on Wednesday. You're gonna see me on Wednesday.
Wednesday, you'll be streaming.
And then my
Marvel
work
Rivals.
has a holiday party, but I'm not staying super long.
Well, we'll see.
I can't. I gotta go. I gotta play Rivals.
Yes, but you'll be playing more Marvel Rivals on Wednesday of this
Yes.
week. So check that out and make sure to subscribe to that channel so you know when she goes live.
Absolutely. Folk asked earlier who I main. I don't have a main yet. I really have not found my main.
Yeah.
I've been playing.
trying 'em
I'm
out.
all over the place. And someone asked what your main was, and that made me chuckle to myself.
Yeah, because I don't play that. I don't play those games. But you know,
Nuzlocke I got an overwhelmingly positive response to the Nuzlocke question. So folks, I feel like 2025 is the year of a Nuzlocke. I think we're gonna have to try it, and like I am terrified of that because I am paralyzed by decisions. It's fine.
And just for fun, because we're doing this and we're live, I wanted to remind you that I'm on another podcast called This Week in Nerd History over on the channel Dorkly. The latest episode of that show dropped to Sunday. And actually, the new schedule release is that the show drops on Sundays. If you are interested, you can check out that video because it's me and two other hosts, AJ and Mike from Dorkly, both fantastic people and fantastic personalities. Gives you a very different side of me, but also a very different side of my interests, and you'll really get into that and get some fun lore. Every episode I drop some kind of new weird lore about myself for some reason. But check that out as well. And we want to thank you so much for hanging out with us. Thanks to our super chatters for sponsoring today's show. Thanks to Dynamite for giving us access to that backer kit, which you guys can check out in the comments and the chat below. And thank you to our chat for being cool and responsive and kind and respectful to each other in the comments. And we'll see you guys next time with another episode of Off the Rack. I'm Sal.
And I'm Tiffany.
So long, everybody. Thanks a lot for watching.
Bye.